Alright, so I got the boost tube in, and well, the air box is kind of in the way, but that actually fit perfect. Bolted right back in the stock location just like where I had it, so that was the easy part. The intake tube, on the other hand, it was a little, it was like too short, so I got the box mounted back in, and see if I can stick the camera down there. I need it to section right where that clamp is. I need it to section, so there's probably about an inch and a half gap right here where I need to cut it and put this collar back on. And but other than that, I bolted up to the stock location where the turbo is, and on the air filter side I just needed to cut my tube. I got this it's probably temporary. I'd like to get a nice silicone one for it. I went to Home Depot and just got a 3-inch rubber sewer connector, and for $7 with 2 hose clamps and the rubber piece itself got me through it. So, but anyway, that was the only deal. But the boost tube itself, as you can see, bolts right up in the stock location. So as of now, all the mechanical stuff is done except for the exhaust. I'm waiting on a couple parts, V-band clamp and stuff like that. But everything else is hooked up and ready to rock and roll. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about is, since all the mechanical stuff is done, is hooking up the Banshee 2 VGT controller. And off the turbo, you're going to have 2 plugs. One's the main plug that goes into the actual actuator, turbo actuator, and then there's a small one right here that goes into the top, kind of by the oil feed line and the water line. That's actually your speed sensor. And talking with this guy that made the controller, his name is Steed Dolan, STEEDDOLAN. You can find him all over the internet. He has his own YouTube videos, and he's on forum boards and everything. So talking with him, he was going to have some kind of touchscreen on-dash display, and he was actually going to use the speed sensor. But I don't have that, and talking with him, he's not going to further pursue having that on-dash touchscreen. So basically, this speed sensor is just there to plug the hole. And my harness is, I bought it January of 2015, and I believe he doesn't even have the plug for it in the harness anymore, but I do. So one, fill up the hole for the plug on the harness side, and 2, fill up the hole on the turbo side. So alright, so here's a harness. Got 2 plugs for the turbo. This truck's a 2003 2500. So I ran it up here, zip tied it, ran it across the little pinch seam, kind of like where the stock wiring trough is, and ran it all the way over to the driver's side. And this is pretty much the only bad part about this harness, is it's not vehicle specific. It's a universal kit. So some of the wires are a little bit too long. I didn't have any short wires, thankfully, but he does give you plenty of length for everything. So anyway, ran it across the firewall and dropped it down next to my master cylinder down. So what I did was, with the inner fender well out, have all the wires, here's his harness right here, and kind of behind the battery box I ran it, and the firewall I ran it and zip tied it up, and his actual controller followed over right up here. I have it zip tied to kind of the inner fender structure. I don't have a 90-degree drill, but if you did, you could screw it right to this. It's kind of like a rectangular tubing body part. So I need to get a right angled drill and actually screw it, but just with the zip ties on, it's pretty tight. So I picked this location because it's nice. Once I put the inner fender well on, it's protected from all the elements, all the water and everything else. So Just be careful, because once you put your inner fender well back, it is a little tight, so just forewarn you. I was test fitting the inner fender well the whole time while doing this. And so anyway, so I ran down here. Here's the extra length of wire I was talking about, so I just kind of zigzagged it back and forth and zip tied it to, this is a factory harness right here. So that'll get tucked up out of the way once the fender well's in, the plastic fender well. And so one of them, he has a little ground wire, so I just screwed it up, sheet metal screw it right to the inner structure right there. I'll take care of one of the grounds. Everything else just zip ties up out of the way. And it's cool too, because you can only plug stuff in one way, so you can't screw it up. Every plug's different, so everything only plugs in one way and snaps right together. So on a late model Dodge, I think this is your best bet, to tuck it up on the driver's side fender well. And then for the other one, you're gonna end up having 2 relays on it. Relay and a fuse right here. It's all part of this harness. So I zip tied it up out of the way and end up drilling a 1/4-inch hole right here and through bolted it to, it's pretty much kind of the plastic battery tray mount. So then again, up out of the way, protected by the inner fender well once I put that on, and all good to go. So then he sells, or doesn't sell, it comes with it, but another relay, and this one I mounted right here on the driver's side inner fender. And this will, I believe, is the one you run to your switch 12 volts. Oh, you know, I take that back. That's for your pressure sensor. I'll get into that in a second. So anyway, you're gonna have 2 relays, and I just picked a factory bolt right there and mounted it. So then, and you just have positive, negative hookup to your battery. That's that. And here's your pressure sensor. So I just mounted up there. He gives you a little bracket, and it's a 0 to 50 psi sensor. And I just have a little piece of tubing running down to the back side of my intake manifold. That's pretty much it. Then I'll show you inside the truck. So other than your 2 positive, negative connections, you're also going to have a switch 12 volts, which I grabbed from underneath the dash. That's all covered back up. But it's hot when you turn the key on, and it's off when you turn the key off. And then here's the interior control. So he redid some of the stuff, the knobs. So this actually doesn't adjust your percentage of exhaust brake anymore. I need to read back into it and see exactly what it does. But yeah, fit nice and neat in my dash. Haven't been mounted yet. Still need to make a couple brackets and secure it to the inside of the dash. But pretty good spot for right there. Nice and easily accessible, because you'll have your exhaust brake on and off. So that's pretty much it. So got the turbo, everything, all the mechanical stuff done, and just finished wiring up the Banshee VGT controller, and about to take it for a test drive. So hopefully this video helps. You know, I was looking for a turbo for this for a long time, and once I came across the Banshee 2 controller, that pretty much made up my mind that it's one of the best upgrades you can do. All I do is tow with this truck. It's not a pull truck, it's not a race truck or anything, so having the adjustable exhaust turbine side with an exhaust brake while towing really helps. And the cool thing about Cummins is this motor is very, very similar to the new 6.7 liters. So everything bolts right on. There was hardly any modification necessary. And on my other videos, I showed you how I swapped out the automatic to a manual, and that's why I got rid of my heat exchanger. If you still have an automatic truck, there's this tube right here I was showing you in part 1. You might be able to get it for an automatic truck and still have your heat exchanger hooked up. but that didn't apply to me, so I got rid of all that. So that's about it. If you have any questions, please comment, and thanks for watching.